What if the key to deciphering the secrets of existence had always been before our eyes, hidden by veils of myth, silence, and ancient conspiracies? A knowledge so powerful that it has forged the roots of every spiritual, scientific, and philosophical tradition, but which the world continues to ignore. We are not talking about legend, but about a knowledge capable of transforming your vision of reality forever. Hermes Trismegistus, an enigmatic name, guarded by secret lodges, cited in ancient manuscripts and carved in the heart of esotericism. Why has official history erased him? Why have alchemists, initiates, and sages preserved his teachings while humanity remained in the dark? His wisdom is more than theory. It is a guide to enlightenment contained in the Corpus Hermeticum, the Emerald Tablet, and the forgotten Hermetic texts. Once discovered, nothing will be the same again. Today we lift the veil on Hermes Trismegistus, who he really was, why his truth was hidden, and how he can reveal the very essence of existence to you. If these words resonate with you, leave a like now. This is not just any request. It is a sign that you are ready to cross the threshold, that you recognize this wisdom as part of you. I will know, and you will understand that you belong on this path. Now continue, because what is about to emerge will change everything. For centuries, scholars, mystics, and seekers of hidden wisdom have asked the same question. Who was Hermes Trismegistus? Was he a man, a god, or something much deeper? His very name is an enigma. Hermes, the Greek messenger of the gods, merged with Thoth, the Egyptian deity of wisdom and writing. Trismegistus, meaning thrice great, was a title reserved for those who had mastered the three great arts: alchemy, astrology, and what makes him so significant that his name appears in the most obscure, forbidden, and influential texts in history. The truth is that Hermes Trismegistus is not just a legendary figure. He is the foundation of an entire system of knowledge that has shaped the beliefs of secret societies, religious doctrines, and even modern science. His teachings were revered by the greatest minds of the Renaissance: Newton, Da Vinci, and Giordano Bruno, all seeking the hidden keys to the universe in the Hermetic texts. But these teachings were never intended for the masses. They were protected, codified, and passed down only to those deemed worthy of understanding them. They were whispered in the corridors of ancient mystery schools, hidden in allegories, and buried beneath layers of symbolic language. To the uninitiated, they were nothing more than esoteric musings. To those who could decipher them, they were the very blueprint of reality. But why did such knowledge have to be hidden? Why is Hermes Trismegistus barely mentioned in history books despite his immense influence? The answer lies in the very nature of power. Those who understand the fundamental laws of the universe, how reality is structured, how the mind shapes existence, how energy can be transmuted, hold an incalculable advantage over those who remain in ignorance. The rulers of the past, the monarchies, the religious authorities, and the architects of control had no interest in an awakened population. Knowledge was power, and power had to be accumulated. Thus, the Hermetic teachings were fragmented, suppressed, and eventually relegated to obscurity. Even the texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, the Corpus Hermeticum, the Emerald Tablet, and the Kybalion, survived only through secrecy. The Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of philosophical writings exploring the nature of existence, mind, and the divine, was nearly lost to time, only rediscovered during the Renaissance. The Emerald Tablet, said to contain the secret of transmutation and the unity of all things, became the foundation of Western alchemy, and the Kybalion, written centuries later, distilled the fundamental Hermetic principles into 7 laws, principles that govern every aspect of existence, from the movement of the galaxies to the thoughts in your mind. But here is where the real mystery deepens. If Hermes were only a legend, a symbolic archetype, why have the most powerful institutions in history referred to his wisdom behind closed doors? Why do Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and other initiatory orders still codify Hermetic teachings in their symbols, rituals, and philosophies? And if this knowledge were nothing more than ancient superstition, Why do modern scientists today echo what Hermes taught thousands of years ago? Some say that Hermes Trismegistus was an enlightened sage who walked the earth in a time before recorded history, passing down wisdom from an advanced civilization lost to time. Others believe that he never existed in the conventional historical sense, but represents a lineage of wisdom keepers, initiates who carried the torch of Hermetic knowledge through the ages. And then there are those who say that Hermes was not of this world, that his knowledge was not discovered but given, offered by forces beyond human comprehension. Regardless of its origins, one fact remains undeniable. Its teachings have survived. They have outlasted empires, religions, and institutions. They have withstood the burning of the Library of Alexandria, the fall of Rome, the rise of the Catholic Church, and countless attempts to erase them from history. And now, in an age when humanity stands on the brink of a new awakening, they are re-emerging. Hermes Trismegistus is not just a relic of the past. His wisdom lives on, waiting for those with eyes to see and minds to grasp it. And if you are still listening, then you are already on the path. The question is, are you ready to go deeper? Everything you have been taught about reality is incomplete. The physical world you see, the rigid laws of science, the limitations imposed by society, these are just fragments of a much larger truth. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus reveal something far more profound, something that has been deliberately kept out of mainstream education, philosophy, and religion. Reality is not solid, fixed, or mechanical. It is fluid, mental, and reactive. And those who understand the hidden laws that govern existence gain the ability to shape their own lives, while those who remain in ignorance are forever at the mercy of forces they cannot comprehend. This is the foundation of Hermeticism, the 7 principles, universal laws that govern everything from the cosmic dance of galaxies to the subconscious thoughts that shape your daily experiences. They are not theories or beliefs. They are truths passed down through time, encoded in ancient wisdom, whispered among initiates, and echoed in the discoveries of modern quantum physics. Yet despite their immense importance, most people have never heard of them. The first principle is mentalism, the idea that everything is mind, that nothing exists outside of consciousness. The universe itself is a mental construct, a projection of divine thought. This is not metaphorical but literal. Scientists now recognize that perception shapes reality, that observation alters the behavior of subatomic particles, and that matter itself is not solid, but a manifestation of energy vibrating at different frequencies. The mind is not just a tool, it is the creator of all experience. Change the mind and you change reality. Then comes the principle of correspondence, captured in the legendary phrase, as above, so below, as within, so without. This is the key to understanding everything. The patterns of the universe repeat at every scale, from the spiral arms of galaxies to the double helix of DNA, from the structure of atoms to the patterns in human consciousness. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. What happens in the mind manifests in the external world. If your life seems chaotic, fragmented, or stagnant, it is not due to random fate. It is a reflection of something deeper within you. Align the inner world, and the outer world will follow. The third principle is vibration. Nothing is still, everything moves, everything vibrates. The difference between light and sound, solid and liquid, joy and despair is frequency. Emotions, thoughts, and even physical objects have their own vibrational signatures. Ancient mystics and modern scientists have explored the power of frequency, from Tibetan monks using sound to alter consciousness, to Nikola Tesla, who said, "If you want to discover the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Those who understand this principle can raise their consciousness, heal their bodies, and attract higher states of being. Then there is polarity. Everything has its opposite. Hot and cold, light and dark, love and hate are not separate forces, but different degrees of the same thing. To understand polarity is to understand transformation. Hate, when shifted in frequency, becomes love. Weakness, when strengthened, becomes power. The key is not resistance, but transmutation, the ability to take the forces in your life and direct them toward your highest good. Follow the rhythm, a law that governs all cycles. Tides rise and fall, seasons change, fortunes fluctuate, and energy moves in patterns. Those who resist the rhythm of life suffer, while those who understand it learn to move with the flow. The secret is not to fight the bad times, but to use them. Every period of loss is followed by a gain. Every difficulty carries the seed of renewal. When you master this, you cease to be a victim of life's fluctuations and become the orchestrator of your own destiny. Then there is cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Every event, every experience, every thought is connected in an unbroken chain of causality. The world does not operate on luck or coincidence, but on laws. Those who let themselves be carried away by life, reacting to circumstances, remain helpless. But those who understand that every action sets in motion an effect can begin to shape their future. The last principle is gender, not in the biological sense, but as a fundamental force in the universe. Everything contains male and female energies, active and receptive forces in nature, in thought, in creation itself. The balance between these energies determines the power of manifestation. The ancients knew creation is not random, but the result of the union of these polar forces in perfect harmony. These seven principles are the hidden architecture of existence, the laws that underlie every experience, event, and outcome. Yet, despite their fundamental nature, they are not taught in schools, not discussed in mainstream science, not included in the doctrines of organized religion. Why? Because understanding them grants real power, the kind of power that allows individuals to free themselves from control, take full command of their own reality, and rise to a level of consciousness that cannot be manipulated by outside forces. And that is why these principles have been hidden, protected by the initiates, codified in symbols, and shared only with those who are ready. But the truth is, these laws were never meant to be hoarded by the few. They are the birthright of every being who seeks to understand the nature of existence. If you have come this far, you are already on the path. You have glimpsed what was once hidden, and now the choice is yours. Will you apply these principles, or will you continue to live under laws you do not understand? Because the truth is, whether you recognize them or not, they are always in motion, shaping your life. The only question is, will you let them control you, or will you learn to control them? For centuries, alchemy has been dismissed as merely ancient pseudoscience, a misguided attempt to turn lead into gold. A senseless pursuit, they say, belonging to an age before chemistry, before rational thought, before true science. But what if that was never the true purpose of alchemy? What if the so-called philosopher's stone was not a material object at all, but a symbol of something far greater? What if true gold was not a metal, but the transformation of the human soul? This is the lie that has kept humanity in the dark about one of the most powerful spiritual processes ever known. The alchemists of the past were not primitive chemists. They were initiates of an esoteric tradition that predated even written history. They understood that alchemy was never about external transmutation, but internal. The lead they sought to transform was the human condition, crude, dense, burdened by fear, ignorance, and material limitations. The gold was the awakened state, the enlightened being, the fully realized self. In Hermetic thought, alchemy is known as the Great Work, a multi-layered process of purifying the soul, deconstructing the false self, and rebuilding the individual into something that transcends ordinary human consciousness. It is a process of death and rebirth, a casting off of all illusions, a path few dare to tread because it requires the total destruction of the ego. And that is precisely why it was hidden, encrypted, and disguised under metaphors and symbols only the initiated understand. Because the truth is dangerous, because it liberates, and nothing is more threatening to a system based on control than an individual awakening to their true power. The alchemical process is divided into three main stages: nigredo, albedo, and rubedo, the blackening, the whitening, and the reddening. Nigredo is disintegration, the dissolution of the old self, the confrontation with the darkness within. It is destruction, decay, the death necessary before rebirth. That is why many fear this path. They are unwilling to abandon who they believe themselves to be. But without death, there can be no transformation. Next comes the albedo, the purification, the shedding of false identities, the washing away of ignorance. It is a state of clarity, of seeing reality for what it truly is, of rising from the ashes of the old self. Those who reach this stage begin to understand that the world they knew was an illusion, that their attachments, fears, and desires were but chains binding them to a lower existence. Finally, the rubedo, the culmination, the union of opposites, the birth of the awakened self. It is the state of enlightenment, the realization of true consciousness, the alchemical gold. Those who arrive there are no longer ordinary men and women. They are masters of their own reality, beings who have transcended the limitations of mind, body, and time. And this is where it gets scary. This knowledge has been deliberately buried, misunderstood, and ridiculed. The modern world teaches that there is no transformation, that you are fixed, that your consciousness is bound to the material realm and cannot rise beyond it. The concept of enlightenment has been reduced to a vague romantic ideal, devoid of the depth and intensity that true transformation requires. But the ancients knew better. They knew that the human being is an unfinished work, a raw material capable of refinement, a lead-like substance waiting to be purified into gold. They knew that reality itself is not as solid as it seems, that mind, body, and soul can be transmuted into something greater. They knew that to understand true alchemy was to understand the very essence of existence. Even today, echoes of this truth are found in disciplines that many would never associate with alchemy. Modern psychology draws on the alchemical process. The idea of shadow work, facing and integrating the dark parts of the psyche, is the stage of nigredo. The process of self-purification, healing trauma, and liberation from false identities is albedo, and the final transformation into an individuated and realized self, rubedo, is the goal of nearly every esoteric spiritual tradition. The signs have always been there, hidden in plain sight. The biblical resurrection of Christ, the phoenix rising from its ashes, the serpent shedding its skin, the caterpillar dissolving into nothingness and emerging as a butterfly, all allegories of the alchemical process. But most people don't see it, accepting superficial interpretations without ever questioning the deeper truths behind the myths. And perhaps the greatest deception is this: you have been convinced that transformation is impossible, that you are what you are, that your flaws and limitations are immutable, that you must accept your current state as a permanent reality. But nothing could be further from the truth. Hermetic alchemy teaches that the soul is not bound by material laws, that what you are now is not what you must be forever, that every human being contains within himself the potential for something far greater. But this knowledge is not given freely. It must be sought, earned, understood deeply. For the process of transmutation is not gentle. It is a consuming fire that destroys all that is false before revealing the truth. That is why the philosopher's stone was never a material object. It was the symbol of the state of enlightenment, of the perfected self, of the union of spirit and matter. The few who understood this truth altered the course of history, and now it resurfaces again for those who are ready to receive it. The only question is, are you willing to undergo the transformation? For this is not a path of comfort. It is a path of destruction, rebirth, and ultimate fulfillment. And those who walk it never return the same. There is a fragment of wisdom so profound that it has been studied, debated, and hidden for centuries. A short, cryptic text written in an unknown past, containing a message so powerful that it has shaped the course of alchemy, mysticism, and even modern science. This is the Emerald Tablet, a text attributed to Hermes Trismegistus that encapsulates the most essential truth of reality in just a few lines. A truth so simple yet infinitely complex that those who understand it hold the keys to creation itself. That which is below is as that which is above, and that which is above is as that which is below, to accomplish the miracle of the one thing. This single statement is one of the most mysterious and powerful teachings ever recorded. It is the foundation of Hermetic philosophy, the heart of alchemy, the hidden structure of existence itself. But it is more than words. It is a formula, a law, a cosmic truth that explains the mechanics of reality. It is why the microcosm reflects the macrocosm, why the patterns of the universe repeat at every level, why mind influences matter, and why your thoughts are not mere passive reflections, but active forces that shape your life. The Emerald Tablet is not a simple ancient artifact. It is a coded message intended for those with eyes to see. The deeper you look, the more you realize that this knowledge has been hidden. Not because it is false, but because it is dangerous. Because it reveals that the limitations you have accepted as reality are nothing more than a construction, a carefully placed illusion. Hermes Trismegistus did not write about a passive universe. He described a living, breathing system of creation and transformation. The phrase, "as above, so below," is not a poetic metaphor. It is a scientific and spiritual law. It means that what happens on one level of existence is reflected in all others. The movements of celestial bodies affect human consciousness. The structure of atoms mirrors the spiral of galaxies. The cycles of nature reflect the cycles of thought, emotion, and spiritual evolution. Ancient civilizations knew this. The Egyptians built pyramids in alignment with the stars, not for aesthetics, but because they believed in the correspondence between earth and heaven. The Kabbalists mapped the structure of the divine mind on the tree of life, believing that by understanding one's own mind, one could understand the universe. Even in the East, the concept of macrocosm and microcosm permeates the Taoist and Vedic traditions. This was universal knowledge until it was deliberately suppressed. But here is where the truth becomes even more extraordinary. Modern physics, quantum mechanics, and even neuroscience are now confirming what Hermes Trismegistus taught thousands of years ago. Scientists know that particles behave differently when observed, proving that consciousness itself influences reality. String theory suggests that the universe is composed of vibrating energy, echoing the Hermetic principle of vibration. Fractal theory shows that the same patterns repeat at infinite scales, just as Hermes taught. So why does this knowledge remain hidden in plain sight? Why does mainstream science refuse to connect these discoveries to Hermetic principles? Because acknowledging this truth would dismantle the greatest illusion of all, the belief that you are powerless. If everything follows the correspondence principle, then your mind and thoughts don't just react to reality, they create it. This is the secret hidden in the Emerald Tablet. The truth that rulers, institutions, and systems of control have worked to obscure. If you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that your thoughts shape the world around you, that your consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain but an intrinsic force of reality itself, how would you live? Would you accept the limitations imposed? Would you blindly follow the narratives handed down by society? Or would you begin to question everything, to reclaim the power that has been hidden from you? This is why the Emerald Tablet has been studied in secret, locked away in the vaults of secret societies, dismissed as legend. Because those who truly understand it do not remain asleep. They awaken, they go beyond the illusion, they learn to shape reality instead of being shaped by it. And this is where the true journey of the seeker begins, the realization that the same force that moves the stars flows in you. That the mind, the universe, and existence itself are not separate. They are reflections of the same underlying principle. This is what Hermes Trismegistus tried to teach the world. That is why his words refuse to disappear. why they continue to resurface century after century despite every attempt to erase them. Because the truth cannot be destroyed, it can only be hidden, waiting for those who are ready to find it. Hermes Trismegistus may not be a name you hear in religious sermons or history classes, but his influence is more profound than many realize. His teachings, codified in the Hermetic texts, have shaped secret societies, philosophical movements, and even the very structure of religious doctrines. His wisdom was never intended to be public knowledge. It was reserved for the initiated, the select few deemed worthy of understanding the hidden laws of reality. But what makes Hermeticism so powerful that it must be protected, distorted, or hidden under layers of religious dogma? To understand, we must go back to the ancient world. The teachings of Hermes were not confined to one civilization or culture. They were a bridge between the Egyptian mystery schools, the Greek philosophers, and the esoteric branches of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The Hermetic tradition flowed through Kabbalah, Gnosticism, and Sufism, carrying the same message: reality is not what it seems, and those who understand its hidden laws can reshape it. The Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and other secret societies were built on Hermetic principles. Their symbols, rituals, and teachings are direct continuations of the knowledge attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. The phrase "as above, so below" is engraved in their temples, appears in initiations, is encoded in their architecture. The concept of the great work, the spiritual transmutation of the soul, is central to Rosicrucian thought. Even alchemy, which these societies studied in secret, was nothing more than Hermeticism disguised as chemistry. But why did these teachings have to be hidden? The answer is simple. Hermeticism teaches self-sovereignty. It does not require a priest, an institution, or an intermediary to access the divine. It teaches that the mind is the creator of reality, that the soul is eternal, that enlightenment comes from direct knowledge, not blind faith. And this is precisely what made him a threat to religious and political institutions. When Christianity came to power, it absorbed and repurposed many Hermetic concepts, but only in ways that reinforced external authority. The idea of Christ as the divine Logos, the word through which reality is said to exist, mirrors the Hermetic principle of mentalism. Everything is mind, and the universe is a thought in the mind of the Creator. The concept of the Trinity, a unity of three forces, reflects the title Trismegistus of Hermes, the thrice great. Even Christ's resurrection and the transformation of the soul echo the alchemical process of transmutation, converting the raw human condition into divine gold. But here's the crucial difference. Hermeticism teaches that every human being has the potential to awaken the divine within, whereas religious institutions have often positioned divinity as something external, granted only through obedience to a higher authority. The moment people realize that they don't need an institution to access higher wisdom, the entire structure of control collapses. That's why Hermetic thought was condemned, why the early church branded it as heresy, why Gnostics, who held similar teachings, were persecuted and erased from history. Even in Judaism, traces of Hermeticism appear in Kabbalah, the esoteric tradition that describes a hidden structure of the universe known as the Tree of Life. It mirrors the Hermetic idea that reality is structured through divine emanations, levels of existence that can be navigated by those seeking enlightenment. In Islam, Sufism carries echoes of Hermetic wisdom, teaching that the universe is an illusion and that true knowledge comes from direct experience of the divine. These esoteric currents survived because they remained hidden, passed down through whispers, symbols, and secret texts. The suppression of Hermeticism was not limited to religion. With the advent of science, the ruling classes ensured that it too was separated from the spiritual truths of the past. The very idea that consciousness plays a role in shaping reality was erased from mainstream thought. Renaissance scientists who were Hermeticists, men like Newton, Kepler, and Giordano Bruno, were forced to hide their beliefs or were killed for them. Bruno, for example, was burned at the stake not only for suggesting that the universe was infinite, but because his philosophy was too close to Hermeticism. He claimed that the mind was a reflection of the cosmos, that divinity was within, that to understand the laws of nature was to understand the mind of God. These were ideas that the authorities could not allow to spread. Yet, despite every attempt to erase, distort, or suppress this knowledge, it survived. It lived in the secret rituals of the Freemasons, in the texts of the alchemists, in hidden manuscripts stolen from burning libraries. Even now, as society becomes increasingly mechanized, materialistic, and disconnected from ancient wisdom, the Hermetic teachings are re-emerging. For truth cannot be destroyed, it can only be forgotten and rediscovered. The question is, why now? Why is Hermetic knowledge resurfacing in the modern age? Perhaps because we are at a turning point. As the world becomes more unstable, as traditional institutions lose their grip, as people begin to sense that something fundamental is wrong with the reality they have been handed, the ancient wisdom is returning. Those who seek truth are drawn to it once again. And once you begin to see through the illusion, there is no turning back. The same secrets that were hidden by the ancients, guarded by secret societies, woven into the very fabric of religious thought, are now available to those who dare to look. But beware, this knowledge is not passive. It is not something to be read and forgotten. It demands application. It demands change. It demands transformation. Time is the greatest illusion ever created. It is the prison that binds human consciousness to the material world, the invisible chain that keeps people trapped in cycles of repetition, fear, and limitation. From birth, you are taught to measure your life in hours, days, and years, to see existence as a straight line from the past to the future. But what if time isn't what you've been told? What if the past, present, and future aren't separate, but exist simultaneously? What if Hermes Trismegistus had already revealed this truth thousands of years ago, only to have it buried under dogma, distractions, and deception? According to Hermetic teachings, time is not linear but cyclical. It moves in spirals, not straight lines. The concept of beginning and end is an illusion imposed on reality by limited perception. What has been will be again, and what happens now has happened before. This idea is rooted in the principle of rhythm, the great cosmic law that governs cycles at every level of existence. The rise and fall of empires, the waxing and waning of the moon, the inhalation and exhalation of life itself, all follow a pattern repeating on different scales in eternal motion. That is why ancient civilizations spoke of ages, not of historical progress. The Egyptians, Hindus, and Greeks described vast cosmic cycles in which knowledge is lost and found, in which humanity ascends to enlightenment only to fall back into darkness. Hermes taught that one who understands these cycles is no longer bound by them. He stands beyond time, viewing existence from a higher vantage point, understanding that the present moment contains all possibilities. The past has not disappeared. It is merely another layer of reality, accessible to those who can see beyond the illusion. And if time is an illusion, what does that mean for death? The great terror that looms over humanity, the fear that drives people to cling to material existence, to avoid questioning the deepest mysteries of life. Hermes Trismegistus taught that death is not an end, but a transition, a change in frequency, a shift from one state of being to another. The body perishes, but consciousness, the very essence of the self, remains. It moves through dimensions, reincarnating, evolving, remembering, and forgetting in endless cycles. Every ancient tradition held a version of this truth, but none dared to articulate it with the clarity of the Hermetists. They saw the soul as eternal, passing through different planes of existence, learning, evolving, refining itself as the alchemist refines lead into gold. That is why the symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent biting its own tail, represents eternity, rebirth, and the infinite cycle of existence. It is not a simple poetic metaphor, it is a map of reality itself. Modern science is now catching up with what Hermes taught thousands of years ago. Quantum physics suggests that time does not flow in one direction, but is relative, dependent on perception. Near-death experiences, consciousness studies, and research on altered states of awareness all point to the same conclusion. Consciousness is not produced by the brain, but exists independently of it. The body is a vessel, an instrument, but it is not the self. The self is infinite. The self is beyond time. But this knowledge has been deliberately obscured. Society is built on the belief that time is limited, that you have to race against the clock, that your existence is fleeting and must be filled with distractions, successes, and external validation. You are conditioned to fear death, to avoid the thought of it, to see it as the ultimate unknown rather than the next stage of awareness. Because if people knew, if they truly understood, that they are not their bodies, that they do not cease to exist when the body dies, the entire structure of control would collapse. Fear would lose its grip. The relentless pursuit of material gain, of external approval, of conformity to systems designed to distract you, none of it would have any power over you. Hermes did not just teach philosophy, he provided a map for liberation. He revealed the hidden architecture of reality, the mechanisms by which consciousness moves through existence. The Emerald Tablet, the Corpus Hermeticum, and the Kybalion are not mere intellectual curiosities. They are tools for those who are ready to awaken. They are invitations to free yourself from the illusion of time, to remember who you really are, to see beyond the veil that has been placed before your eyes. Most will never question the illusion. They will live and die believing that time is a straight path leading to an inevitable end. But some, those who seek, who feel the call of something greater, will go beyond. They will understand that the past is not behind them, that the future is not ahead of them, that all of existence is happening now. They will understand that death is not a defeat, but a door, and once that realization dawns, there is no turning back. For centuries, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus have been hidden in symbols, locked away in secret societies, distorted by those who feared their true meaning. For if people understood the depth of Hermetic wisdom, they would no longer be controllable. They would see through the illusion. They would wake up. The laws that govern reality are not arbitrary. They are precise, universal, and unbreakable. Yet the vast majority of humanity ignores them, blindly following a path laid out by forces that thrive on their subjugation. But once you understand these laws, once you internalize the truth of your power, nothing can stop you. The first step is to understand that reality is mental. The world you experience is not external to you. It is shaped by your mind, your perception, your focus. This is the principle of mentalism, the foundation of all Hermetic wisdom. Everything is mind. Your life is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Your fears, your beliefs, your expectations do not just exist in your head. They structure the very fabric of your reality. This is why those in power flood the world with fear, scarcity, and distractions. Because a mind trapped in fear cannot create freely. A mind consumed by chaos cannot manifest its true potential. But when you regain control of your mind, when you consciously direct your thoughts, emotions, and energy, you begin to see that you are not a passive observer. You are the architect of your existence. Understanding this is not enough. You have to apply it. You have to become aware of every thought, every emotion, every belief you carry with you. What are you allowing into your consciousness? What patterns have been programmed into you by a world that benefits from your ignorance? The principle of correspondence teaches that the inner world reflects the outer world. If your outer reality is full of limitations, suffering, and stagnation, it is because something inside you is aligned with those conditions. Change the inner, and the outer must follow. This is not magical thinking. It is not blind optimism. It is law. Most people never take control of this process because they believe that life happens randomly. They believe that their circumstances are dictated by luck, by chance, by outside forces. But the law of cause and effect states that nothing happens by chance. Every event, every experience, every situation you encounter is the result of a chain reaction set in motion by thoughts, actions, and energies, consciously directed or not. The masses wander through life, reacting to what happens, unaware that they are creating the very conditions in which they feel helpless. But the awakened mind sees the pattern, understands the law, and begins to move with intention. Yet transformation is not instantaneous. It is a process, a gradual refinement, a purification of the self. The principle of rhythm teaches that everything moves in cycles: expansion and contraction, growth and decay, success and failure. Those who do not understand this become discouraged by obstacles, believing they have failed. But the Hermeticist knows that setbacks are part of the rhythm, that every descent is followed by an ascent, that the key is to move with the flow rather than resist it. That is why patience is essential. That is why perseverance is necessary. The world is designed to test you, to see if you are worthy of wielding this knowledge, to challenge you at every turn. But those who remain steadfast, who align themselves with the principles of reality, will find that the universe bends to their will. But this knowledge is not just about personal power. It is about liberation of the self, of the mind, of the soul. The ultimate deception is that you are small, that you are weak, that you are at the mercy of forces beyond your control. That deception has been imposed through religion, government, the media, every institution that benefits from an obedient and unaware populace. Because the moment you understand your nature, the moment you realize that the same force that moves the cosmos is acting within you, you become ungovernable. You stop seeking permission. You stop waiting for external validation. You stop playing by rules designed to keep you bound. That is why Hermeticism has survived every attempt to erase it. That is why, despite centuries of suppression, it is coming back now, because there are those who are ready to remember, those who can no longer ignore the feeling that there is something more, something just beyond the veil of ordinary existence. You are not here by accident. You did not stumble upon this knowledge by mistake. Something inside you is stirring, awakening, remembering, and once you take the first step on this path, there is no turning back. The old world is collapsing. Systems built on lies and fear are losing their grip, and in their place, a new understanding is emerging, one that is not dictated by outside authorities, but by those who claim their own sovereignty, by those who remember that power has never been outside, but always within. There was a time when this knowledge was known, a time when it was not hidden, suppressed, or distorted, a time when those who sought truth could find it openly, when the great mysteries of the universe were not locked away in secret societies or buried under layers of religious dogma. But that time passed. The world fell into darkness, into ignorance, into a time when people became slaves to a false reality, disconnected from their divine potential. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus were never lost. They were taken away, hidden from the masses, protected by those who knew that a population that understands its own power is a population that cannot be controlled. But now something is changing. Knowledge is coming back. People are remembering, awakening, realizing that the version of reality they were given is incomplete. That is why you are here. That is why you are hearing these words. A part of you knows, even if you cannot yet express it, that there is something more, that the limitations placed upon you are artificial, that you were not born to simply be, obey, and disappear, that there is a greater purpose, a greater reality, waiting just beyond the veil. This is what the Hermetic teachings offer you, not just philosophy, but a path, a way to reclaim what has been taken from you, to step out of illusion and into true knowledge. But knowledge alone is not enough. Understanding these principles, memorizing them, discussing them, none of it is of any value unless you apply them. This is why many seekers fail. They seek the truth, but when they find it, they hesitate. They fear the responsibility that comes with knowing that they are the architects of their own existence. They cling to old patterns, old beliefs, because embracing true power requires letting go of everything familiar. This is the crossroads at which every awakened individual finds himself. Will you continue as before, pretending that you have not seen the illusion for what it is? Or will you step into the unknown, into a reality where you are no longer a prisoner, but a creator? The path of the Hermeticist is not easy. It requires discipline, awareness, and a willingness to unlearn everything you have been taught to believe. It is not about following a new doctrine or submitting to a new authority. It is about learning to think for yourself, to see through the layers of deception, to recognize that every limitation in your life can be transcended. Most will never walk this path. They will hear these words, feel a moment of recognition, and then return to the comfort of what they already know. They will dismiss it as interesting but impractical, as something that does not concern them immediately. And that is how the system stays in control. It doesn't need to suppress knowledge when it can simply distract people from applying it. But some, the ones who are truly ready, won't ignore that call. They will feel it deep inside, in the very core of their being. And those who take that first step will find that the universe responds. Doors open, opportunities arise, the right books, the right people, the right experiences begin to show up. Not by accident, but because they have always been there, waiting for the moment when you were ready to see them. This is not about mastering others. This is not about escaping the material world. It is about mastering the self, the mind, the forces that shape reality. The Hermetic teachings have survived because they are truth, and truth cannot be erased. It can only be forgotten. And now, in this time when the structures of control are crumbling, when old systems are collapsing, knowledge is returning to those who are ready to claim it. The majority will never discover these secrets, because in the end there are two kinds of people: those who see the truth and do nothing, and those who see the truth and act. The choice is yours. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus were never meant to be locked away, to be hoarded by the few, while the many remained blind. They were meant to be understood, lived, embodied. They were meant to be the key to freeing humanity from ignorance, from limitations, from the illusion of separation. But over time, this knowledge was buried by institutions that sought control, by rulers who feared an awakened populace, by systems that thrive on deception. And yet, despite it all, despite wars, book burnings, religious persecution, centuries of suppression, these teachings have endured. Because truth cannot be destroyed, it can only be forgotten, waiting to be remembered by those who are ready. And now, in this moment, that choice is before you. Because if you have come this far, if you have listened, absorbed, and felt the undeniable pull of something deeper, then you already know the truth. You were meant to remember. You were never meant to accept the world as it is. You were never meant to sleepwalk, following paths laid out by others, submitting to systems designed to keep you small. You were meant to wake up. You were meant to see. But knowledge alone is not enough. This is the ultimate illusion. Many believe that simply learning hidden truths will change them, that knowing the nature of reality will magically free them from its grip. But the Hermetists knew a deeper truth. Knowledge is potential, but it is only through action that transformation occurs. The great work is not knowing, it is doing. It is embodying principles, weaving them into your existence until they become part of who you are, no longer ideas, but your very breath. This is the path of mastery, chosen by those who refuse to be slaves to chance, fear, or external forces, but few will have the courage to follow it. Many will listen, feel the truth vibrate, and then return to their usual habits, taking refuge in the comfort of the ordinary. Not because of a lack of faith, but because the price of true change is high, and only a few are willing to pay it. But you, if you are still here, if that inner voice continues to whisper, you already know that you can no longer turn back. You have glimpsed what cannot be forgotten. The illusion has cracked, and through those cracks, the light of truth filters. You can pretend not to see it, let it dissolve into the shadows of everyday life. Or you can move forward, taking the first conscious step beyond the veil. Because the Hermetic teachings do not speak of the past or abstract theories. They speak of you, of your consciousness, of the reality that you can shape. And when you begin to live these principles, you will understand why they have been hidden. Those who master them conquer true freedom. If you feel this truth vibrating, leave a like, write in the comments, "The veil has fallen," and subscribe to the channel. This is not just any invitation, it is the recognition of someone who is ready to go beyond the illusion. Now tell me, which side will you choose to be on? Whether you spread this light or keep it in the silence of your soul, I wish you only one thing, that the flame lit today never goes out. Until our next meeting, stay free. And don't forget, nothing happens by chance, not even this moment. See you soon.